How's everybody doing? It's Matt McNeil coming to you from the garage. I know it's been a quick minute since I've uploaded any videos, but I have been doing a lot of things around the garage. We'll get back to this guy later. This is what I was going to talk about. But some of you know I've been working on this Creepso Creep, and over there is the sculpture waiting to be molded. And in the meantime, though, I learned a lot more about Raul's face and sculpting that. So I went back and I altered a few pieces, bits here and there on this skull that won't, I don't think, interfere with the latex pulls skins that I make over there, but will give us a more sort of accurate Raul look. For instance, Raul's front tooth is a lot bigger than what I had sculpted before or 3D printed before. His nose is more rounded here on these sides. It's like more of a, less of that heart shape and more of a round shape. I think we talked about that before. And I had altered it on that 3D print, but once I got to sculpting and started like really kind of working with dimensions and whatnot, I realized that I needed a little more. I actually added this piece. I need to find out the name for that piece anatomically, that separates your sinuses from left to right. On the other one, I just fashioned a piece of latex and glued it into place. But I figured if I can make it in plastic, that's better than latex for this purpose specifically. I also widened his cheeks a very little bit. Because I feel like we want these to protrude a little more out of the skin than what I have over here on this sculpture. Let's take a look at this guy. So he's pretty much ready. I might do a little more sort of textury stuff, but for the most part, he's ready. And when he's ready, I'll put him on this skull and see what happens. And if I don't like it, then I'll adjust this skull and print another one until I'm happy with it. So there you go. So I've been working on, here's let him go, working on this guy, figuring out the best way to 3D print the most accurate representation that I can. I've also printed this, which I think we talked about before, on my other one, which is part of the mask stand. So he'll have shoulders, right? And that extension will slide right down on top of this. It will be glued to the inside of that skull so that it all is sort of modular and kind of assemblyable on my end, because I'm trying to figure out the best way to get these guys together and make them look great and all that stuff. So anyway, there's that. The next thing is I found a material to 3D print the blood splat on these guys. Look at this. So this is just literally just laid in place. And I talked about it in another video, but this material, 3D printable, is TPU and it's flexible, which means it's mailable without it crumbling and falling apart. So if you look at the inside there, this is a secondary piece that I had printed and was trying out some different kind of glosses and bloods and stuff like that. But I figured out that because of the limitations of a printer bed, I can only print 10 inches by 10 inches by 10 inches, basically, which is a little bigger than what I have here. So this stuff being flexible, I can just cut it and print up this sort of outer splat. Now, obviously, that's not right because I can see a big hole there. Hold on. Print up this outer splat so that it follows the perimeter of everything. Print a smaller one to set inside like this. And then if there's anything else sort of outstanding, I can probably print a whole nother sort of ring that I can pillage pieces and parts to fill in a gap here or a gap there or a gap there. So anyway, this is all starting to kind of come together. And now that this is sort of figured out material-wise, I'm about ready to go back in, clean him up a little bit because he's been sitting around getting dinged and dented and whatnot. Retexture things that need to be retextured and make a mold. So there's that. And then finally, I wanted to talk about this guy. So this is that skull mask that I had based all of my Mask Fest masks on. So I just pulled one of these, and the reason I just pulled one of these is because I'm getting ready to make another Dream Girl, and this is my Amy blank. So we have an Amy and this guy. We're going to put them together. I'll cut out this piece of the skull, and I'll take out that chunk of skin there, pull all that out, put these two things together and sort of embellish it all in, tendons, muscles, and whatnot. But I didn't know whether I had ever sort of shown what these guys look, at the very, very beginning. So this is what they look like. Again, Amy is the vampire from Fright Night. She has the big fangs and all of that stuff. But I'm not making those anymore, but I can still use these molds because I can use the top half of her head and her neck and all of that stuff in conjunction with this to make a Dream Girl. So I pulled this yesterday. I plasti dipped it this morning. And the plasti dip on the skulls does a really, really kind of nice job. I haven't had any peeling or anything like that. I don't know that I would use it heavily, because I think the heavier it gets, probably the more likely it would be to maybe separate. But I've done some tests where I've sprayed it on a scrap of latex and stretched out pretty far and not seen it pop off. So anyway, I based him out in the white. I'm going to get some the 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 Distortions Unlimited recipe for base coating her. So that's 1/3 house paint, 1/3 distilled water, and 1/3 mask latex. And I'll base her out. I'll cut her mouth out. I'll put the two pieces together. I'll paint her skin up, obviously masking off the skull. And then I'll start putting in all those tendons and pieces and parts. We'll bloody her up, get her some hair and teeth and eyeballs. Actually, I'll do the teeth probably first. Before I stick all this in, I'll paint these gums in. Then I'll put the teeth in. Then I'll cut it out, stick it in there. So there you go. That's what I'm up to today. Like I say, I haven't made a video in a while, so it probably seems like I've been not doing anything, but that's not true. I've just been quiet and working on, figuring out this Raoul thing. It kind of took on a life of its own, so to speak. So that was a nice diversion, but at this moment, I'm kind of in a standstill with him because I need to make a mold, and I'm terrified of making molds. So I'm building up my confidence. I'm sure some of you can relate. But yeah, there you go. But this mold should be easy. It's a half mold. It'll be the perfect sort of restarter entree into getting the mold made, that 2-part mold made for the Scanners guy. Because that mold is going to be a heck of a lot more difficult than that mold. So there you go. All right. Hope everybody's having a nice Sunday. We will talk to you soon.